installed on the roof. And then we really get in there with the detail pictures. We zoom in and really show that, hey, yes, there are dents here, up close, there's no question. The other reason that the overview pictures are so vital to the supplement process is because it's going to give you context. It's going to help you describe the other things that are going on with the claim. For instance, in this first picture on the left, yes, we're capturing this elevation where the turbine vent is, but there's much more. Notice there's an alleyway on this property that can't be blocked. In the second picture in the center, you can see that there's a kid's playground or playhouse and a trampoline. So again, there's a little bit more going on this specific property than what just having a close-up photo is going to miss. Now let's talk a little bit more about our overview pictures and just how important they are. So when it comes to your overview pictures, I want you to think about the fact that those are really the easiest pictures to get. They're the very first photos that you should get of the property. And it's going to include things like your front house numbers, pictures of all of the elevation, and any collateral damage that you find around the exterior of the property. Now, those front house numbers, that's just really going to be a good front elevation photo that shows the address or the mailbox. That way you can remove any question that the photos that you're sending are part of this property that the loss occurred. And it's going to help you in your photo storage too, right? You're not going to get properties mixed up. And make sure you get that first picture of the house numbers. Next, we're going to move on to the exterior of your home. We walk around all the elevation. So again, those are the pictures you can take from the ground, starting with your front, moving to the left, and then your right, and then your rear. The information that these pictures are going to give you is invaluable. It's going to tell you, hey, is there only one teeny tiny rickety gate into the backyard? Is that the only way that you're going to be able to access any of the debris from the rear elevation? Is there a kid's play set back there, meaning that you better get out there and pick up every last bit of debris in the yard, or else you're going to have a mama madder than a wet hen because one of her babies stepped on a nail? Is there a bunch of glass patio furniture that you're going to have to move out of the way so it doesn't get broken? Is there even room for a dumpster, or is the driveway cracked to the point that you're not going to be able to place one? These are all questions that can be answered by having ample overview pictures. Now, other pictures that get overlooked are going to be those of your collateral damage. Like here, we have photos showing damage to the brick. Next, we have damage to garage door trim, damage to your AC fins and the cage. And you may think, well, I'm just doing roof and gutters. Sure, okay. But having these pictures of the collateral damage is going to help prove the scope and the severity of the loss. I mean, do you really think that hail did this much damage to this AC unit but somehow completely missed the rear slope of the roof? Unless it's completely covered by trees, you might want to take another look. Or did it completely miss the gutters, right? So don't forget to get those pictures. And don't forget to get pictures of not only the damage to the fence, but the overview. Show the run of the fence, especially if it means that if you're pressure cleaning and staining the fence, you're going to have to first detach and remove all these ornaments. You want to get photos showing the damage to windows and window screens. And again, any of your metals around the exterior of the property. Check them for damage and get pictures. All of these collateral damage photos help not only to describe the scope and severity of the storm, but they're going to help protect you too. So these types of overview pictures, again, they help meet your burden of proof to the adjuster. but they're really important too for a cover your tail situation as well. They're going to help you refute any allegations and hold your crew accountable. For instance, that long time cracked driveway, I can tell you it's going to become really apparent to the homeowner after you leave and after that depreciation check comes, right? But you're going to be able to say, you know, well, actually, Miss Smith, those cracks that you're calling us about, they were there during our initial inspection. Here's our dated photos. We documented this because we wanted to make sure there was no further damage, right? So cover your tail too. Now, if you're in a colder state where ice and water shield is required, especially if it's required 24 to 36 inches inside your warm wall, part of your exterior documentation should include your overhang measurements. This is a good opportunity to get a measurement of your soffit depth. And of course, we don't want to also get the measurement of your warm wall, your exterior wall, right? Make sure that you have ample documentation to support how much ice and water shield you're asking for. And again, these are easy pictures to get from the ground, or just a couple of steps up the ladder anyway. Now, since you have your ladder, you know, you've documented maybe the soffit. Once you have that and you're prepared to climb up to the roof, I want to cover some pictures that you should get from the ladder. Photos that you can get from just taking a few steps up the ladder and stopping. So the first thing that you want to do when you get to the eaves is, again, you want to stop. You want to lift up the shingle there at the edge and snap a picture. And this is going to tell you, hey, number one, is there starter existing? Are there multiple layers of shingles? Is there ice and water on the eaves? What about the drip edge? Is the drip edge painted? Is it there? These are all things that can be answered with this photo. And it's even better if you take this picture from the valley, because then we can see, hey, is there valley metal here? Or what kind of lining material is in the valley in addition to any other question? So next, you want to take out your tools and verify the roof pitch and possibly the type of shingle you're dealing with. Again, these are all things that you can get from the ladder before you even step foot on the roof. So let's move up to the roof now. So we're going to get up to the ridge, and then you want to stop. And then you want to snap a picture, turn 15 degrees, snap another picture, turn 15 degrees, and then another picture, and so on, until you have your 360-degree panoramic view of the roof and all of the slopes. Now, once you have your 360-degree photo set, go ahead and take your overview, paying special attention to each individual slope. So here you're going to get the count of how many accessories and roof penetrations there are. And then you're going to move on to your soft metals, including any flashings. Now, here we're looking at a chimney chase cover. Great. But somebody tell me in the chat, what is missing here? What would make this picture even better? Measurements page, yeah, that's good. So those of you specifically in your hail states, what's something that's going to help us here? Chalk, yes, Paige. Chalk is the answer here. Chalk your soft metals, all of them, because then you are removing any question about what's going on here. You know, what might look really apparent to you out in the daylight when you're there on the roof, you know, when you get back into the office, you may realize that the lighting on your phone wasn't so great, or that shadows just kind of mess things up, and it just looks like a chimney chase cover, right? You don't see any damage. Well, if you're dealing with a desk adjuster who wasn't there and didn't document anything, and you're trying to say that, hey, this is damaged, I need to replace it, you don't have any pictures. So take some chalk with you, rub it along your chimney chase cover, all your soft metals, and show that, yes, there is damage here. It's undisputable. And again, chalk every piece of metal, including your flashing. Why wait to show any damage to the flashings that tear off when you can save the headache and show that, hey, yes, you know what, actually, this was damaged by the covered peril. You know, we've all heard that, oh, we don't pay for flashings. It's not damaged by the covered peril. Well, you know, actually, I've got some pictures that show it was. You know, and these flashing photos are so important because number one, it's going to show how the flashing's installed and where it's installed. And these are all important things that you're going to want when you're writing your supplement. So keep that in mind. Remember to chalk all of your metals and especially your flashing. And again, get your detail photos of your roof penetration. Are the pipe jacks painted? You know, again, it may be difficult to tell at times in an overview, but all it takes is a good close-up to show spray or brush strokes. And then you're going to remove any question about whether or not paint was present. And just like your collateral damage on the exterior, get photos that show any collateral damage to your chimney surrounds or any siding. And you know, this siding here, I'm going to show you a picture. It's not in the best condition. It's seen better days. But if it's damaged by hail as part of the covered peril, then you need to address it, right? So get pictures of everything. Now, production. This is where the magic happens. So you have to remember that at production, the adjuster that you're dealing with, a lot of times they're in a bubble. They're sitting at their desk, they're working 60 claims a day. It's your job to bring them out of that bubble and onto the property by way of your production. So again, remember your overviews. They're going to provide the context and they're going to help describe what's going on around the site. Now, let's look at some important pictures that you don't want to miss during production. So one of the first photos and the most important pictures to get on your install day is going to be the drop of the materials. It's going to be important to know not only how the materials are delivered, but where they're delivered to. You know, were they set on the driveway because the supplier doesn't have access to roof load? Or likewise, where in relation to the dwelling is the dumpster? All of these things are important things to know because, again, these pictures tell a story of the install of the property. Next, what other issues are you dealing with that are particular to this property? Are you needing to protect property because of the steep slope of the roof? That you know debris is just going to drop down straight there on that elevation. It would be unsafe to move it around to the front where the dumpster is, right? So document it with your pictures just as you do the damage. Walk around and take pictures of your tarping, of all your measurements, you know, all the measures that you were taking in production to protect your property from the overview perspective. Now, if there's a pool or even if you just have some fancy patio tile, you definitely want to get some pictures of the tarping and any protection measures that you use to prevent any damage. And then get pictures of your tear-off. Show how many layers of felt you're removing. Show any damaged sheathing that's going to require replacement. I see so many times where we see that the sheathing's been removed, but we don't see the condition of what it was before because nobody got out there in time and the crew went out and started tearing off, right? And then you ask for sheathing on your supplement, but you have nothing to show the adjuster why, right? Was it not up to code? Was there too much space? Was there a leak in the roof caused by the covered storm? You know, these are pictures that you want to have to answer those questions. And again, show pictures of your flashings and the location and how they're installed. Before replacement, during replacement, and after. And And especially, you know, we all know roofing is inherently dangerous. So on your steeper roofs and for roofs where you're taking safety measures, take pictures of those measures that you use. You know, document the necessity for that additional labor that you're asking for. Document the slowdown in productivity that working in these conditions causes. Again, you're letting the pictures tell the story. Let the pictures bring that adjuster out to the site by way of your documentation so that there is absolutely no question about why you need those steep and high charges or why you have an additional layer of felt removal on your estimate. So what's the takeaway here? You know, if you find yourself asking, well, you know, I feel like I've got enough pictures here. Should I take this picture? If you had that thought at all, you've answered your own question. Go ahead and take it because, you know, even if it's a different angle, even if it's just a little bit different lighting, you're covering your tail, right? You want pictures, pictures, and more pictures. Give your estimator or whoever's sitting at the office writing the estimate more to choose from so that they can find that perfect picture to show the adjuster exactly what was missed on that original estimate. Now, I know we've gone over a lot of information here as far as what pictures to take. And of course, 300 pictures of a single property seems like a lot of pictures, right? I saw some notes here about 70. And yeah, you know what? That might be enough if it's a small property. But, you know, storage can be a problem. And if you need help remembering exactly what pictures you should be taking, this is a lot to remember, right? So something that we've done here is at SFY, we've created a scope sheet that we will gladly share, right? We want you all to get that right picture that's going to get you $1,000, right? So to get a copy, if you guys just want to send me an email, send it to crystal@sfyoffice.com. And in the subject line, just say something about a free scope sheet, and I will make sure that you get a copy by the end of the day. So if you guys want that free scope sheet, again, feel free. It's going to go over the same information, but it's a great resource for anyone who's going out in the field and who you want to train to take the right pictures. I'll leave that up here for a second. Now, are there any questions about the material we've covered so far as far as pictures? Were there any pictures that, you know, you thought of that maybe we didn't cover? Or, yeah, I'm kind of with a PDF. You know, of course, you can attach your pictures to an Xactimate estimate or build a PDF photo report. So that's a great way to send over a whole bunch of pictures if you're not able to do it. And certain carriers, I know they have claims experience. You can ask the adjuster if they have a way to submit multiple pictures. I know there are several who have their own links that they'll send you for the claim, and you can upload all the pictures for that property. So ask your adjusters that you're dealing with about that because, you know, they're going to want those pictures too. They're going to want to know. Now, if you send them 300 pictures with no reason why, they're probably not going to look through all those. So give them some context, right? Tell them here's the picture for this item. Don't just dump everything on them, but ultimately they'll want to have those.
Yeah, to just reiterate, so a lot of times they'll give you like a general inbox, and the problem with that is that's the adjuster wanting to shortcut their process and have the photos automatically be uploaded in the phone system where all their notes and everything are. The problem with that is if you upload like a bunch of individual photos, there'll be individual files for that adjuster, and they come in with no description except for like, you know, JPEG 241. And that's where they get overlooked. So if you can get them into like a print PDF or print a photo sheet from Xactimate or Company Cam and just do that one document, the adjuster is going to see them all. Just in the same vein as you deal with the adjuster on site, if you're someone that's in the field and needing an adjuster, ask them that, and also ask them if they work their own supplements, because that can give you insight as to who to follow up with if you do need to submit something. My adjusters that work their own supplements, they would text back and forth, and then they, could have that text thread with the contractor to know, okay, these are all the photos for this house I met him at. It's really just their preference, but overarching, if you can get it on a single document, whether it's a claim system or an email or otherwise, that's going to be easiest from my experience of having to sift through 500 photos coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good example of emotional intelligence, right? Don't just dump everything on them and expect them to have to sift through everything. Give some direction. Understand what they're going through and that they don't have the time to sift through, 300 to 500 pictures. Yeah, I like Julie's suggestion that you can create a report in Company Cam and attach everything over there. And Company Cam and even in Xactimate, you can add annotations, add arrows to what specifically you're pointing to. Be really specific with what you're trying to show with that picture. Great. Any other questions? All right, so we're going to take one more 5-minute break here before we start our next topic. So I'll go ahead and set our timer here, and I will see you back in 5.